Hey everybody, Simistic this year, and I just got back from seeing The Expendables 2. I loved the film, loved everything about it. This film was amazing, and I would highly, highly recommend it to you, especially if you were a fan like I was of the first one. The movie is ridiculous, it is over the top, it is full of action, cheeseball one-liners, just a huge body counts. It is what it's supposed to be. Just a great cheeseball action movie, a throwback to the great action movies of the late 80s and early 90s. That is definitely what this movie is. It delivers 110%. And actually, I thought the movie was a little bit better than the first one. I really enjoyed the first movie, but I somewhat kind of enjoy this movie just a little bit better. I'm not sure why. I think maybe the first one was... The first movie certainly wasn't taken seriously. Maybe it was taken a bit more seriously than the second one. The second one, they goofed around a little bit more. And I love that. I thought it was so much fun. The movie literally starts out guns a-blazing. I mean, the very first scene of the movie is just mayhem and blood and just bullets flying and body count just going up the... Just body count just through the roof. It is so much fun. I was just like on the edge of my seat from the very first moment, just not from suspense, but on the edge of my seat from excitement. I was just like holding on to the scene in front of me, just like, this is great. Because I love a good cheeseball action movie. I love the great cheesy action movies from the late 80s, early 90s. They're so much fun. All the one-liners, all just the great cheesiness that they are. The fact that, things will happen in the movie that make absolutely no sense. Why did this happen? Why does Chuck Norris show up in this movie? Just for a cameo, just for plot convenience. He doesn't have there's not a real reason why he shows up, but who cares? It's fun. The fact that he shows up, we just want him to show up. We want him to show up because it's Chuck Norris. There doesn't need to be a reason. It doesn't need to make sense. It's just Chuck Norris just kicking some ass, and that's what we want. So, hey, let him just randomly show up. It's things like that that just make this movie great. A lot of the same cast comes back. Not all of it. The entire cast hasn't come back, but most of it has. The cast that didn't come back, it's replaced by new members. Jet Li isn't in the movie for very long. He kind of makes basically a cameo in the beginning, and then he ends up leaving. He's not in the rest of the movie. But we get Schwarzenegger. We get Jean-Claude Van Damme plays the bad guy in this. That's great, doing some of his great moves, all his classic leg work. That was great. And of course, Chuck Norris. I mean, you can't go wrong there. I love that. And I was a little nervous with Chuck Norris at first because he shows up and then he kind of goes away. And both my friend and I looked at each other and we're like, is that it for Chuck Norris? Like, I didn't really care if that was it because in movies like this, I expect just kind of little quick cameos. So I wasn't quite sure what was going on. But he does come back and, shoots the hell out of people at the end. I mean, Chuck Norris is great at the end of the movie. I loved it. Especially... There's this great scene where Bruce Willis actually kind of starts kicking some ass too, because Stallone actually says something to him about how, like, oh, you always send your people to do your dirty work, but you're, basically too much of a pussy to come out and fight yourself. So once he says that, he comes out, he's like, fine, whatever, I'm going to come out and kick some ass now too. And he comes out and there's this great scene of Chuck Norris, Chuck Norris, Bruce Willis, and Schwarzenegger just kicking ass. And I was just, oh, and I guess Stallone's in there too, but just like it's, just the fact that there's like the four of them like kicking ass all at the same time, that was just great. I mean, the fact that they were all, just seeing a scene like that, just these great action stars all working together, just kicking some ass is great in this fantastic action scene. And it's cool to see Schwarzenegger too, because Schwarzenegger, he can still kick some ass. He's definitely, certainly up in age and, not going as nuts as he used to, but he's still doing a great job. He's holding his own. I love the scene where they're in that little tiny car and they're driving around and he empties out his clip and reaches down, grabs another gun that was on the ground, starts firing with that. That was really cool. Again, I love the movie. If you are a fan of the late 80s and early 90s, just action movies, there's great cheeseball fun action movies, then you're absolutely 100% going to love this movie, especially if you love the first one. If you like the first movie, you're definitely going to be a fan of those, like I said, late 80s, early 90s action movies. That's the type of movie you're going to like, and you're definitely going to enjoy the hell out of this one. After watching it, I really want to see a third movie. I hope they keep bringing these back. I would love to see, you know, more cameos. You know, if they want to change up the cast a little bit like they did in this one, I'm fine with that. I mean, because, you know, when I think of the Expendables, the team, I think, you know, people are going to be traded up. Some people are going to leave. New people are going to come in. It's not going to be the same team all the time. It's going to change up here and there, you know. Maybe 75% of the members of the team are going to be there, but, you know, some new people will come in and some new people will leave. I expect that, and I'd love to see that, you know, maybe in every movie. Of course, cameos, like, you know, for instance, with Schwarzenegger and Chuck Norris, you know, those cameos like that. You know, I'd love to see some more, maybe like Steven Seagal, you know, people like that, maybe just popping up, you know, even if not to have a huge role, not to be a main character, just to pop up and kind of, you know, kick some ass and then go away. You know, in a movie like this, cameos are 100% acceptable to me. I'm okay with that. You know, I realize we have our main characters who, you know, are the main characters of the movie. They're the ones making the plot go along. They're the ones doing all the, you know, doing what they need to do to make the movie. But, you know, I would love to see, and I do like to see, you know, little people pop up here and there, just make a cameo, kick some ass, say hi, I'm in the movie, and now I'm going to go my way. Here's the main characters again. That's absolutely fine for a movie like this. Again, great one-liners. My friend Zach, who I went to see the movie with, he a few times said, oh, maybe I thought that line here was a little bit too much, a little bit too cheesy. I think he didn't like the line where they... there are a bunch of them where they're all kicking ass, and they're like, oh, there's one guy left, and they all turn, they shoot the hell out of him. I mean, just chopping him up. The guy looks like Swiss cheese, and they're done with him. And I think they say, oh, rest in pieces. And he thought that was maybe a little bit too cheesy, but I loved it. You know, it's one of those lines. It's just one of those ridiculous lines that nowadays sound completely ridiculous. But back in the 80s and 90s, you know, even though they would have sounded ridiculous back then, it was kind of acceptable to have those cheesy one-liners in the movies back then. So for them to throw one-liners like that out, it works. It makes completely sense in a movie like this, in a movie that is a throwback movie. It completely works. So... you know, I'm not going to get too much into the plot or anything like that. I know I'm leaving some stuff out. I'm not saying everything, but I don't really want to ruin this one. You know, again, it is just a, you know, an action popcorn movie for, you know, genre fans. But, you know, I mean, it's not too in-depth. There's not, you know, some crazy, awesome story going on. It's a good story. It's definitely enjoyable, but nothing that I really could ruin, I guess. But since this movie was so great and so much fun, and the fact that I would recommend it just completely 100%, I'd recommend seeing this movie. I'm not going to necessarily give too much away, and again, I know I'm leaving some things out, but just trust me, just see the movie. You will absolutely love it. And again, if you're a fan of the late 80s, early 90s action movies, and you know, you like the first one, then you're absolutely going to love this film. It was just brilliant. I can't say that enough. I'm definitely looking forward to this movie coming out on Blu-ray, because I will be buying it just so I can watch it over and over and over again. And like I said, I actually enjoyed it a bit more than the first movie. The first movie, like I said, was great, and I really did like it. But I think this one just a little bit more. I actually thought it was a little bit better. I know some critics were saying it wasn't all that great. It wasn't as good as the first. I've read a lot of critics saying don't see this movie. But you know, what do critics know? Critics, you know, I think they're taking the movie maybe a bit too seriously, not realizing what it is. Not realizing that it is, you know, it's I guess you could call it a serious parody in the fact that, you know, it's not like, it's very tongue-in-cheek. It's not a movie that's like, oh, look, here's the jokes, here's the jokes, here's the jokes. You know, it's not like, what was that movie, Shoot 'Em Up. Shoot 'Em Up was a great movie, but it wasn't too serious. The movie was ridiculously over the top and, you know, almost to the point where it was a little bit goofy because it was kind of a parody. I mean, yeah, it wasn't like a comedy, but it was a little serious, but it was a little bit more, you know, extreme in its, you know, parody-ness, or whatever you want to call it. Whereas this movie is a parody to an extent, but it does take itself seriously at the same time. But it does constantly give winks and nods to great movies of the past, especially again some great one-liners from Schwarzenegger and Bruce Willis. There's this great like dialogue between those two that it's great. So, again, I'm going to shut up now. See the movie. As far as going to see it in theaters, if you're a theater goer, if you're a person who likes going to the movies, you know, you don't have anything wrong spending the money, you're a big fan of the movies, you go to the movies all the time, you love seeing the movies in the theater, then yeah, see the movie. You're going to love it. it's definitely one to go check out. If you're more like me and you know, you don't go to the movies that often, you're more of a person who rather just buy the movie and watch it at home, it's something you need to see in the theaters. I mean, yeah, there's big explosions and all. It is pretty epic and great and huge, but I want to say something you definitely 100% need to see in theaters. If you have a good enough TV and maybe a surround system or something like that, then you'll be fine watching it at home. But like I said, if you're a theater goer, then yeah, go see it. It's worth your money. You won't be disappointed. You'll be 100% satisfied when you're walking out of this one. And if you're like me, you'll be left definitely wanting a third and a fourth and a fifth and just hoping this series goes on for a good long time because it is fantastic and I love what I've seen thus far. Yeah, number 3, I hope you come very soon because I'm definitely anticipating that. So definitely go out, see the movie, or at least, you know, if you're going to wait till it comes out and you want to rent it, definitely give it a rent, and within the first week you need to see it. Or if you're going to buy it, then definitely pick it up and check it out because it's great. I loved it. You'll love it. Fantastic action popcorn movie. So that's it, guys, and I'll see you next time I go to the movies. Bye.